Ah. Good morning. With the help of Hashem, we are learning today's 3 prakim Rambam. Hilchos Malva and Loiva, chapters 16, 17, and Perek Chai. We are beginning with Perek Shisha Asa. The 16th chapter is all about different problems, different issues, different doubts that come about when a debt is being paid. Perek Shisha Asa has 12 halachas, beginning with halacha Aleph. It says that Rambam hachoiv ba'achrayus aloiva. The debt remains the responsibility of the borrower ad sheyifra'enu liyad hamalva, until when the money is returned either in the hand of the lender or in the hand of the shliach that the lender sent to pick up the debt. However, in other words, when is the debt not yet paid back? If the malva tells the leiva, throw to me the debt, not it should come into my hand, throw it towards my way. And the malva says, and when you do so, once you did that, you're off the hook. So in that case, if you threw it to him, but prior to it reaching the hands of the malva, either the money got lost, they got burnt, it got ruined. In such a case is going to be exempt because of this unusual stipulation that the malva made. But in other words, throw me my debt based on the klalim that are used when a get is being given over. And he threw it. Now by gitin, if you remember, karav loy, karav law, suffix. Same thing over here. Even though he threw it, but if it landed closer to the loiva, they are still in the achrayus of the loiva. As we began, halacha aleph, it's under the achrayus of the loiva until when it reaches the hand of the malva. Here, if it lands closer to the malva, nifter haloiva, and interestingly, mechzal mechza, whereby you get, what do we say, yakir? Suffix migureshes. So how do you apply a suffix migureshes? Half. Im of the mishal menignavu mishalam aloiva mechza. Halacha base. Hoyru ben chayv l'shemin manem. And the Armal Levi hoylech l'shemin manem zeh sha'ani chayiv loy. Give this money that I owe to Shimon. Im balachsoyer, if Reuven wants to retract, if Reuven wants to pull back that money, it's amazing. Eino chayzer. In other words, the shliach acquired it on behalf of the malva, but not fully. Don't forget, the malva didn't send the shliach. The loiva sent the shliach. Because even though he cannot retract, yet nevertheless, Reuven is still chayv and achrayus because the malva was not memana the shliach. Hechzer levi asamana Reuven, which he should not have. And then something happened, very interesting. They are both chayv and achrayus. It was the shliach, amazing. Something happened. Imagine Levi is going to have to pay for half of the loss. Halacha gimel. Reuven shoy chayv l'Shimon manem. The Amar Shimon l'Reuven.
הוא לא אומר שלחתיך לתקן ולא לאחד. לוי לשליח. Why Levi is still high?
Because Levi was not allowed to give it back to Reuven. Okay, next. Reuven that was chayiv to give Shimon $100, and the Amar Shimon, who's the lender, to Reuven here, who's the borrower. Mana sheyesh libi yatcha teneu leLevi. You owe me, right? You owe me a man. Shimon is the lender. Shimon is also a borrower from Levi. That's what we have to add on over here. Reuven owes money to Shimon. Shimon owes money to Levi. So Shimon tells Reuven, you owe money to me. Don't pay it to me. Pay it to Levi. And if they are all standing together, and Levi is makabel, that what? That Shimon does not owe him the money. Reuven owes him the money. So before you read further, these are foundational halachas. Did Shimon pay his debt? No, Shimon paid his debt by giving away another debt. So here's the halacha. If it turns out that Reuven is an ani, he was always an ani, and he never had how to collect from him. So then Harei Levi chayzer b'chayvi al Shimon. Levi says, even though I agreed, instead of getting the money from you, Shimon, to get the money from Reuven, but Reuven is an ani. Reuven was never able to pay me, so I was tricked. But the im yadal Levi shuhu ani, and he yet accepted, or even if later Reuven becomes an ani, and Shimon, my friends, becomes pater from the chayv. He's like a gewaldige dinner. Now, there can be a machlokes about it. So Levi, who's the loser here, is saying, no, I'm not the loser, because Reuven was never able to pay. Shimon says, no, when you agreed, Asher Hoya Veheni, so the Rambam says, Yerali, Sha'al Shimon, Wahavi Rai Vachakach Yepatar Chaviv Levi. Shimon cannot step out so quick over here. Why? Even if the guy comes with a receipt. If the other party says the receipt is forged, just because you're holding a receipt, the onus is still on you to be Makayim the Shoivet. In other words, even though Shimon did something which could have exempted him, if a question mark is put on it, which is what's happening because Levi is saying that you knew Reuven was never shaykh to pay, so it's still on Shimon the responsibility. Halacha Daled. That was in Hilchos Mechira Perik Vav. That Reuven shelo yehoya loy etzloy Shimon klum. Shimon had no chiyuv. And if Reuven owed Levi a mana v'himchou etzel Shimon, v'himchou means he told Levi to collect it from Shimon. You understand? Here, there's no chayvus in the halacha gimel yakir. Reuven owed Shimon, Shimon owed Levi. Here we don't have that. You understand? Reuven owes Levi. Reuven owes Levi. Shimon was there. Reuven says, you know what, Shimon, you pay my debt to Levi, and he agreed it. The din is loy kanam. I can only pay my debt with someone else's debt, not because someone agreed to pay on my behalf. It's very important that. By the way, I think this happens a lot. A guy mixes in to do a favor. He sees the malva saying to him, "You have to pay me back." I says, "I'll pay." Does that mean that the loiv is off the hook? No. And furthermore, even if he gives, first of all, the guy that's stepping in is not doing a favor. He's laying out the money. So it's optional for him to do it. But he's not mechoyev to do it. In halacha gimel, it's different. Reuven owes Shimon. That's the word. Shimon owes Levi. If everyone consented, Shimon says, listen, I owe you, Levi. Well, Reuven owes me. Let Reuven pay you. Then Shimon is out. Here not. I don't even want to go to Shimon. I don't even want to go to Shimon. Since there was no chayver. And more than that, even if the middle guy already paid part. So you see, everyone agreed. This middle guy paid part. Levi at a later time can say, I don't want to get the rest of him. I want to go back to the Reuven. He can do that. Halacha Hachenveni, a shopkeeper. Guys, whoever learned Bava Metzia, this is the beginning sugyas. This is common practice ad hayoim hazeh. A storekeeper becomes a little bit of a banker. In other words, people, when they go shopping, they don't always have cash with them. It's very common that the storekeeper, the chenveni, has a pinkas. A pinkas is the ledger. Today he has a notebook. Today he has a computer. He has an Excel sheet. And that mishpacha comes, and they pick up eggs and milk, and they trust the chenveni. The chenveni writes down, and then at some point, when it accumulates into a relatively larger bill, the chenveni goes to the balabais and he says, your mishpacha owes me kach lekach. That's the case. This is not a gift. This is pashut. The chenveni lays out. He doesn't charge right away. Umakifoi. Makifa means credit. In other words, he gives credit to the balabais. Actually, is kavetz hakoil, and at some point, he gets collection from the balabais. Now, balabais. So since the balabais is using the chenveni as a shtickle of a banker, so it's common also that a balabais will tell the chenveni, do me a favor, go lay out pasha to seller, not food, 10 lepayali seller, or someone owes me money. Give to Baal Choivi money sheyesh loy etzli. I owe him a money. You anyways trust me. You're giving my family credit. The chenvanim had always cash. Lay out another $100. Add it to my bill. This now what happened was, and the problem here is that what were to happen if the storekeeper says when it comes to collect, he added the bananas, the eggs, the $100. He wrote down that he gave it. The worker is telling the balabas, the chenveni never gave it to me. You still owe me the money. The poyel of the balachayv says, you know what's going to happen? Both of them will have the right to collect from the balabais, even though they have to take an oath. This is mamish not beis amad beis. This is the beginning of the sugis and Bava Metzia. Harei apoyel ol balachayv mishpav noit le balabais chayv. The chein achenveni. Nishba v'noitel lebalabayis mashaton shenasim. He has to take an oath. Sharei oimer loy lite. Notes why does the balabayis lose? Because yakir the balabayis is moida. I told the chenveni to give. The balabais is not denying it. The only problem is that worker is telling balabais he never gave it to me. But the chenveni says you told me to do something. He has to take an oath, and he's going to get money from the balabais. Another detail, they both take oaths, one in the presence of the other. B'chlal, having two litigants in the presence of the other lowers the chance of one party lying. They'll be ashamed to lie. So they have to take a shvua b'maimer ha'chenveni. Now, why do they even have to take an oath? Says the Rambam. And it's on a level of ke'ing doiraisa, because since they are both coming to take, that's the klal. When do we have a shvuas heses midrabanan that doesn't demand holding a holy article? When the oath is the regular oath made by financial dinei Torah, which is an oath for me not to have to pay. That's normally. Midoiraisa, I'm koifar hakel, for example, I don't owe you anything because I'm the muhsak. Midrabanan, that guy is saying I owe him money, make an oath. But I'm making an oath to hold on to my chazaka. That's normally rabbinic oaths, which you don't need to have mekitas chayfetz. This oath is also midrabanan, but this oath is giving both the chenveni the power to take that money from the balabais and the poyel also to take the money. When it's nishba v'noitel, the shvua has to be ke'en dairais, which is benekitas chayfetz. And lefikach, meaning since the reason why there's a chiyuv of shvua is only because he has to pay both. That's why they make him swear. What were to happen if one of these two parties die? So the balabais won't have to pay them anyways. So then you know what the din is? The other party doesn't have to take an oath. Noitel, he won't, and therefore we're speaking about he won't pay the chenveni. He won't pay the heirs. He's not going to have to pay him. Or we're speaking about in the case where they will not be able to collect it.
Interesting that he's not paying the Yorshin.
So he's asking. Well, we already learned that before. Not every choiv goes to the Yorshin. We already learned a couple of conditions. And then you don't even have to have an oath. Now what happens? Let's go to all of the scenarios in the previous case. The chenveni tells the balabais, you told me to give. The balabais says, I never give you permission. But why does the balabais lose out, Yakir? Because the balabais is moida that he told the chenveni to give. If the balabais says, I never told you to give, then the balabais nishba has to v'nifta. Of course, because the balabais is the muhsak. You know what the din means? The chenveni can try to get it back. Now the chenveni is saying, I gave it. He can try to get it back. Will he succeed? It depends what kind of rayas he has, etc. When he comes to collect the credit, how did he collect the credit? He comes with this pinkas and he tells the Balabais, see here, it says that you owe this. Balabais says, in your day. The Balabais says, I'm not so quick. The din is nishma Balabais hesish ein yadeh v'nifta. Wow. Gedin kol toin al chaverin l'chol dover ve'ein bozet hakonas chachamim. There's no oath b'nekitas chayfetz. Well, in other words, just to be aware of that when these chenvanim, they're taking a risk. They had no raya. It was mama's trust. If the balabais challenges the whole thing, you won't have to pay. Halacha zayin.
No signature, none of it.
Saying today, so Yakir is saying today it's different. Today you have papers, people have pens, people have signatures. It's much easier. It happens the whole time. You make a bill. Who said I took it? They show you. You go to a hotel, you check out. The whole hotel costed $150. You check out $700. Because a bottle of water, I had a bottle of water. Then look, they can show you. You had this, you had that. You looked. Went to the bathroom. Everything, they add another $50. Which they said, Allah Chazai. Al Shimon. Okay. So there's a document, guys. There's a document that states that Shimon owes to Levi. You get it? Who has the document that states that Shimon owes to Levi? Reuven. Now, if you remember, if someone owes me money, I'm able to give over the debt to the other. If it's a shtar, we learned this together. How? By writing another shtar, by writing another document, and by giving over both documents to the recipient. That's how you pass over a debt of a shtar. So this is guys, Reuven has the document. Levi is the beneficiary of the document, right? Levi, let's say, is the lender. Levi is supposed to be makabel. That Levi wrote to me, Reuven, another document like we learned, and he gave it over to me. The only problem is I lost that document. The other ways that we learned above, how do I give over a document that represents a debt, is by making king and agav. Again, the holder of the document says, this is what happened. The din is going to be that since Reuven has the document. Now, the document that says Yakir, Shimon owns Levi, but Reuven is the holder of the document. He collects from Shimon. Now, To'an Shimon owes money to Levi. Reuven has the document. What happens if Shimon claims, Rabbi Yid, I already paid this. I already paid Levi. Shaparula Levi. And V'amar Yeshava Levi. Yeshava Levi. They make the malva, the lender, swear. That's what happened. What is he swearing? That he never got the money. But then it works. But Levi here. What happens if Levi, the malva, is maida? That what? That it was taka paid. Here's a problem. If Reuven paid Levi, but the document is biyad Reuven, once we establish that Reuven is neman to say that he bought this loan, who was the money owed to? To Reuven. So that means that Levi wrongfully took money from Reuven. So Yishalom Levi le Reuven. Beautiful. Toan Levi shalei machar lenasan shtarzeh gavaldik. Then we don't believe Reuven. Don't forget, if Reuven would have had the ksiva umesira document, Reuven would have been believed. If the claim of Levi is, no, the money was owed to me. Maybe I lost it. I never gave it to you. Levi will be believed. Levi now is going to be believed. Elama, Reuven is telling Levi, you owe me the money. We'll make a shur says it's finished. Like every kofer hakol. Halacha ches. Shtar shahoya b'yad shlish. Another case where there's a document in the hand of the third party. V'hoitzi mitachas yadi bebezdin v'amar paruahu gavaldik neman. Amazing. When we learned until now, Yakir, that if you have a document against me, these are such good rules. I cannot say parati, because if parati, why do you have the document? That's only if you pull out the document against me, it's from you to me. I'm saying I paid you, and you're saying I didn't pay you. Then the holder of the document will always win. But if the document came, like we learned in Allah Chazayin, the Yad Shlish, even though there's a document, the one who owes the money, like in the previous case, Shimon owed the money. Shimon owes money to Levi. If Reuven pulls out the document, Reuven says, the document is mine. Shimon says, I already paid. Shimon is going to be believed. She'ilu ratzon chayasar fayakaroi.
The migui.
No, one second. No, okay, I take back. It's not the case of Zion. I'm just trying to hop over here. Who brought out the document over here? I got it. The third. No, I got it. I'll tell you how. Slicha. I'll tell you how. It's not case Zion. The third party, it was entrusted with the document. I mean, it's not that he's claiming I bought the document. The third party is someone that was trusted to hold the document. The document, Yakir loaned me money. Yakir, I owe you money. The document is in the hands of the third party. Whatever the third party says, B'negeya, our loan, the third party is believed. Not the money was paid to him. The third party is saying, yeah, I have a document, but that document was paid. The third party is believed because he had a document. It's illegal. He could have ripped up the document. The they find in his possessions that he wrote concerning this document that's in his possessions, even though there's no Edom on the Ksav. That's the rule. Whoever is in possession of a document, just like that person could have hid the document, that guy could have burnt the document, Yakir. That guy is Neman to demasculate, to take away the koyach of the document. If the lender, imagine, even if the lender wrote another document that says, even it's amazing. The lender wrote, it's paid. It doesn't take away. It doesn't mean that he was Maida. And guys, we're going to learn a lot about this, that Hoida'a Benegeya, I owe money, or Hoida'a, that you don't owe money. All of these admissions, many times Chazal said it's possible that someone is kemisachik. Only when a Hoida'a is made in front of a basin does it have legitimacy. So just because there's a document, even in the hands of the Malva, it doesn't have the ability to take away the power of the document. However, which what? The Malva wrote on a document. The lender wrote, who has the document? The lender. The lender wrote, I got payment. And witnesses signed on that. Oh, that's it. You can ask, who needs the whole thing? Just rip up the document. I don't know, but they wrote it. Then you show then Beis Din has to run after those witnesses. We say it's amazing. The only way you can take away the koyach of the document, if it's not the Yad Shlish, is only if you have Edom that you are Mekayim. Halacha Yud, Nimsa Hashtar Ben Shtoiros Peruyim. When people have documents, they have different drawers. What happens if there's a document that was left by its owner in the pouch, in the drawer, with the documents that were all paid? That already is a proof. Hareza Perua. The concept of Masachek could be said by one document. If I'm an organized person, the drawer to the right are all of the documents that are already paid. Everything there is paid. So before, very good.
How's this different from last part?
No, I said didn't. No, I made a mistake. In Halacha test, there was another document which the Malva wrote himself, that the Malva wrote a document that no 10 was paid. That was an halacha test. That is where we say that you have to have edim that are mekoyim. Here, he taka wrote it on the document of the debt. If you write on the document of the debt perua, you're not nesachnik over there. You got it to keep it out. Good. Halacha yudala, final halacha. Hamoitzi start ben shtaroisov. If you find a document, Danny, the halacha yudala. Not the final halacha, correct. The ein yadua mativoi. You don't remember. You don't remember whether it was paid or not. If you have a doubt, you can't collect with it. Do. And halacha, final halacha yud beis. He tells his kids, listen here, you're taking over the geschäft. One of these documents are paid. You know what happens? Every single lender can tell the kids, it was mine that was paid. We're speaking about honest people. They were megala there. Any day, but how can the kids collect from any document when it could be they're collecting from someone that already paid? The only thing is that if there is one person that owes 2 documents, the father says only one is paid. They can collect the lesser document. It's the only thing they can do. Hagadol parua, v'hakotin eina parua. You're also beloshin yachid. Hagadol parua, v'hakotin eina parua. But if he tells this fellow, chayv l'cha b'yadi parua, the word chayv doesn't mean a document. It means all of chayv means the debt. If you loan me money 10 times, even though there are 10 documents, the way we speak is it's one debt. I owe you $100 because you loaned me 20, then you loaned me 15, it became 100. So if the guy says, then we say, beautiful. Perek Shiva Asar is now going to move on of how one collects a chayv through the Yarshim, because before we learned that he collecting it from the borrower's Yarshim. Now we're going to learn about the Malva passed away. So the lender who's collecting the chayv, what happens if the lender passes away and the heirs of the Malva are making a collection? And we're going to learn about some phenomena that is not that relevant nowadays, but maybe even, you have $1. That's where, you do have $1. So there's an American dollar, there is an Australian dollar, there's other dollars, and they have different values. What do you do if the debt is $1, but it doesn't specify what dollar? How do you go about it? So we're going to see that if they wrote a location in a star, which they should, we follow that location. And if they didn't write, which they didn't have to write the location, what then is done to clarify what currency was meant when it was written down? That's going to be Perek Shiva Asar. Perek Shiva Asar has 9 halachas, beginning with halacha Aleph. Malva Shemeis, if a lender passes away, so the yoirish of the lender, the heirs of the lender, they come to collect from the principal, from the borrower. The borrower, paid your father. The yoirish has no idea. First thing is, guys, number 1 is because the shtar is in the possession of the heirs. Let's go with that yakir. It means the premise, the loan is outstanding, even though that the loiva is a muhsar. Doesn't matter. We don't work that way. Even though this guy says I paid, and the Yarshim say we don't know. Beis Din says pay. Oh, Mari Yishavali. But if the borrower says swear to me, and what did we learn yesterday, my friends? Remember that even though you have to pay a document, that takonas chachamim, you can demand the oath. But here, what are you demanding? They don't know. So the din is, the heirs make an oath that our father did not instruct us either through a third party or directly that this was paid. They have to just swear that we don't know. And we didn't find the of our father. We didn't find a note that Taka wrote that this is paid up. As far as we know, the document is there, and then they get to kill. Now let's go further. Not only did the Malva pass away, later the Loiva passes away. Meisa Loiva, Achasha Meisa Malva. And then let's go weiter. Uba HaYoirish, the Yoirish of the lender, is coming to ask payment from the Yoirish of the borrower. Well, Yipara Ela B'Shvuah. What's that Yipara Ela B'Shvuah? There's a rule, my friends, that when you're coming to collect, not from the principal, remember that rule, you have to take an oath. So this is what they tell them. Now let me tell you how the oaths work. First, we tell the Yarshim of the Malvim. First, they have to swear that Wadani, that as far as they know, the document is valid, as we had before in Aloha Aleph. The difference is that in Aloha Aleph, the borrower is the one that demands the oath. You understand? If the borrower doesn't demand the oath, they don't make the oath. Here, the borrower passed away. So we always will demand the heirs of the lender to take these oaths. When his father passed away, still, furthermore, if the Malva told the Chevra prior to his passing, there Yapara Hayodesh B'Leishvua Afilu Min Hayodesh. Ad Kedei Kach. So that's step number one. Step number two, Halacha Gimel. What happens if Meis Haloy V'Tchila V'Achar Kach Meis Hamalva? Now here, it's completely different. Ein Yorshi Hamalva Noitlum Yorshi Loy V'Klum. Why? Shebe'ez Shemeis Haloy the Loy passed away first. What's the din? Neschayev Hamalva Li Shava. What oath does he have to make, Danny? He has to make an oath that the loan was not paid back. That's what we're saying. It's the koyach that we learned yesterday, that when a person is going to pay his document, we learned Taka, he has to have the money in his hand. He can demand the other party Taka to swear that it's not paid. That's something that we taina for the Yarshim. Since the Levi passed away, the Malva will have to make such an oath. There's a rule that once a person can only get payment through making an oath, you can't bequeath that schus of making an oath to your heirs. Since you can only get payment through the oath, the heirs can't make that oath. That's a rule. Kvar biyanu, like we learned before in Allah Beis. And now Kvar Meis. And now that's the chiddush over here. The ein oid adam moirish shvua labanav. They cannot make the same oath the father says. Don't forget, what does the father say? What does the lender say? The lender says, I swear that I was never paid. The heirs don't make that oath. The heirs are making an oath that our father never told us that it's paid. So they're basically saying that we don't know. They cannot make that type of oath. So you can't collect. Now, this is something that's really not so clear in halacha. This is a sugya Masechta Shavuos Daf Mem Ches. But that's the way the Rambam is understanding it. But the Rambam himself knows it's not so clear cut. And therefore he says that the im over hadayin v'ishbia yorshi amalva. Now again, the shvu of the yorshi amalva won't be the same words of the malva. The malva says, I swear that I was not paid. The yorshi amalva swears, like we're learning, that shaloi pakadna amo, v'shaloi amo alanu abo. But if such an oath was told to the yorshi amalva v'gavu es chayvan, the Rambam also holds ein mitzian miyadam. Because the Rambam himself was not so clear, you understand? It wasn't such a decisive psak. And lefikach shtar chayv shel yisoyim haboim liparim in hayisoyim. In the case that we just said in Halacha Gimel, shemeis avim haloy v'tchila, being that the Rambam on one hand is saying that you cannot collect, but if it was already done, ein moitzian from the Yarshim, ein korinoisim. Don't rip it up. On the other hand, the Rambam is still telling a bezin ve'ein mag ben boy. In going by because of the Rambam's understanding, she'ain adam moirish v'olabana. K'may shebiyanu. Ein koyden boy. Shema yavik dayin she'yadon v'yoytzi boy. And don't take away that possibility from the Yarshei Amal. Halacha dal. Afilu hayisham areid. Umeis aloy v'tchila. Still lo yifru Yarshei Halmalva min ha'areid. They can't even collect it from the areid. Because she'im toimer yifru min ha'arev, harei ha'arev chayzev v'nifru miyarshei loiva. In other words, the Rambam holds that the bottom one, once the loiva passes, just understand what happens. The loiva passes, if the loiva is alive, only if the loiva demands of the malva to swear does the malva swear. If the loiva passes away, then Beis Din always tells the malva, you have to swear. What will the malva swear? I never got paid from your father. The malva passes away. The Yarshim don't say our father never got paid. They don't know that. In Adam Shvua. It's a different type of shua. They're saying that as far as we know, our father never told us it was paid. You only can get payment through a shua. You can't make that shua. You can't get payment. You can't pay through the Arav because then the Arav will collect it from the Yarsha Aloivim. Right? Halacha says that Rambam, this halacha, don't extrapolate and apply this to any other scenario. Ain't done in the din zeh lochal adoim eloi, as we'll see in a moment. Ella, harei hapoigem eshtari umes. The Rambam is speaking about a new case over here. Hapoigem eshtari means that if a malva is moida, that some of this document was already paid. And the halacha is, once someone is poigem eshtari, he can only collect with a shvua. Again, normally, if I have a document, you have to pay. What we learned yesterday is that if you demand of me to make a shvua, that's something else. But if you don't demand, I get paid. You cannot say parati because I have the document. If I'm moida that some of it was paid, then the rule is I can only, me the malva, I can only collect when I swear that I only got part of it and the rest is still owed. I have to take an oath. And the same case, the malva passes away. No, it's once the malva passes away, that oath, using the words of the Rambam, ein adam moirish shvua labana. Here we do say, again, it's not the same oath. Through a third party. Our father did not instruct us through a third person. That our father did not tell us directly. Nor. And yes, the goyve eshar ashtar, bein ben haloiva, bein miyarshav. And I'll tell you why. Just to know that what's the nafkamina? Why would we make a difference? I think the nafkamina is because in halacha hey, there wasn't yet a chalois chiyuv shvua at all. In other words, when someone is coming to collect with a shtar pogum, when he's coming to collect with a shtar pogum, then Beis Din tells him to swear. That's the way I understand it. Then that chiyuv was chal on him. Prior to him coming to collect, he was never a mechuy of shvua. That's the way I understand. When someone is collecting the yarshim of the borrower, the moment there's yarshim, you have to swear. Even before you're coming to Beis Din. That's the way I understand. When there's a chiyuv for you to swear, then if that person passes away, ein adam moedish shvua labanav, they cannot make a collection. If the chiyuv only comes when you go to Beis Din, well, the father never went to Beis Din. So now they'll be mechayiv to yarshim. And it's going to be a different type of oath. Not that you didn't get paid, but as far as you know, you were never instructed that it's paid. Okay, right. Allah Akbar. Yodesh Shabalik says, Yodesh Shabalik Bismina Yodesh. Omri Yoshi Aloiva. Omor Lano Abba. Listen to this. Loy Levisi Chayv Zeh. Hare Yoshi Hamal V'Goyvin Shaloiv Yeshua. What was the oath that they have to make that we learned? They have to make an oath implying that it was never paid. They were made it was not paid. How are they made it's not paid? By saying there was never such a loan. Now, no one has the namanus to say there was never such a loan going against the shtat. This is Gavaldik. So if the other party was moided that they didn't pay, and that is never nemon against the shtar, now pay, no oath is needed. Again, and more than that, even if it's, remember we learned yesterday that people can make certain stipulations, like you can write in the document, Lamashal, that whenever, the Malva can write, whenever the loiva is going to say, parati, I believe. Even if that's written in the document, so what? When you say loy lovisi, you're not saying parati. Loy lovisi means loy parat. Beautiful. Halacha zay. Yodesh, this is the Yodesh of the lender, the Yodesh of the Malvim. Going directly to the borrower, as we said in the end of Halacha Vav, that it was written in the document that when the lender loaned the money, the lender is not living. But he already declared that whenever the borrower is going to say parati, hare haloiva, nakuda parati, hare haloiva nishba hesed sheparoi l'shtar zeven ifter, afa pi shaloi kasav loy, v'hare ata neman al yorshai. In other words, the rights that the lender, Yakir, gave the borrower of Ne'emanus automatically stands, even if the lender passed away. Doesn't make a difference. You understood that? The im is not all of Shia Neman. Below Shum Shvua, then Eina Nishba Filali Yarsha Malva. In other words, once the Malva accepted that I will believe you, he didn't only mean I will believe you for me. I'll believe you for my Yarshim as well. Halacha 8. Yoidish Katan, and the Yoidish of the lender. Yashaho Yashtar Choiv Lo Aviv. The Yatza Olav Shoiver Achas Misas Aviv. So he found after the father's death, he found that there's a receipt. So what should he do? Imagine I have a document, I find a document, someone owed my father money, then I find the receipt that it was paid. I should not rip up that document so quick. The Yoidish Katan should not rip up the document, even though there's a shoiver. But the aim magban way. Why? Because maybe the shoiver that you found was mezuyev. Which is why you found it right now. Gavaldik. No, if a receipt that the father never knew of is never enough for us to tell the minors that the loiva had pulled out the receipt. Here, I paid. We never knew about that. Keep the document, and when they become adults, they still have now a possibility. Mezuyev.
Why do I have to wait till they're adults in order to do that? Let the Beis check out the shaver now, and if it's valid, then let it be.
Because Beis doesn't have to represent the Yisraelim in such a case. Well, Beis tells the Yisraelim, hold on to the document. Right, halacha test, the final halacha of this chapter. Here we go. We spoke about currencies. And it's written that it was written in Babel. So if the name, whether there are Saloyim, Dinarim, Shkolim, Pasha, they had different sizes, different weights. Magbeo mimo is Babel. Hoyo Kosav Eretz Yisrael. Magbeo mimo is Eretz Yisrael. Masha Enkin by Iksuba, the rule is that a woman, because of the rule, if you remember, that Tav Lames of Tandu, Lames of Armul, that's why general and that the woman is not bringing the Ksuba money and she's not lending the money. It's a choiv on the husband. You're getting married. If there's a divorce, etc., you'll have to give her money. Over there, we take a say if there's a doubt on what currency, doesn't matter where the Ksuba was written, she'll get whichever one is worth less. That's a unique then by Ksuba, not by all other documents. Now, what happens if they didn't write in the Shtar Shem Makai? So then it has to do where did the lender pull out the document for collection. If he pulled it out in bubble, bubble. See about Eretz Yisrael. What happens, as we mentioned above, in other words, if the makom of where the document was written is not written in the shtar. So we're following the latter rule in halacha test, the last one. It has to do with where you make the collection. And the Torah, how loy v'shamoy sheni chayiv loy because of shupachas mizamad beyam. He's claiming, I know he pulled it out over here. So what? But I don't owe the money from here. I owe the other dollar. I owe the Australian dollar. Yeshava hamalva, the malva has to take an oath. That's already mechayiv the malva for an oath. Ho yubah kesef stam, but kesef stam means you owe me coins of silver. Not dollars, and the doubt is it an American dollar or an Australian dollar? He owes me coins of kesef. Then he has very little power. If you find any coinage of kesef that has even lesser value, the borrower says it was that coin. You understand? It's not connected. It's not place related. Like what's the smallest nomination of a silver coin in the ganze Welt today? The Levi can claim that is what I borrowed. Mashayir tzaloiva yigbu. Mashir tzaloiva. Mikan atalamed. Now the Rambam says we have all these halachas in Chazal. Hold on, I can extrapolate on a very big cloud. That when it comes to certain documents, if you don't write the makom, the whole document is not valid. Why is that? Because normally there's a rule that Eidim Shi'i Ata Yachal Hazimai don't have the koyach of witnesses. The only way you're Mazim Eidim, remember, Imano Hayisem, is if you know where is the location of the event. For you to say later to the Eidim, how can you say that on that date, in that place, you saw the Malva lending the Loiva? You were not even there. If you don't write the Makim, you can't be Mazim them. Why are we even having these halachas? Is araya that even a shtar she'ein by shem makim shenichdav kosher l'chol davar, and taka that's the din. And let's go further. We're speaking about guys not documents that affect the Isurim. No, we're speaking about documents regarding a loan. Nevertheless, by Dine Mamanois, we're not medagdeg bedrisha v'chakira, as we'll explain. And why is that? Including in that, not only that we don't do drisha and chakira, is that it doesn't bother us if we're not able to be mazim edim when it comes to dinner de mamoyim. Actually, we spoke of yesterday between Mincha Ma'ariv and a good word of the Rebbe that you see how lenient we are by documents of money. So the question is, why did we learn yesterday that if a document was used and already paid, you can't reuse it? Why can't you reuse it? No, what's the case? Reuven, you loaned me money today. Okay, what today? Chaf Aleph. What's today? Chaf Aleph Adar. And $100, and I paid you back. You wrote a date, and I paid you back. And then after I paid you back, I says, Gabbai, can you please relend me? Give me another loan. There's already a document. I mean, that's the case. We learned yesterday. The same names, the same, everything is the same zman, same number. Why can't you reuse it? The Rambam says, kecheres. That's a big kasha. The kasha is based on this. You see, we don't care that much. The answer that Rabbi gives is because every document creates a shibud. And once there is a shibud and the money was paid back, so therefore it broke the shibud. Writing the document creates the shibud, not having a document. That's why you have to write another one to make another shibud on the nechasim.
The question: why not both parties' agreement will create the shibud?
That's a kasha. But the writing, the Rebbe spoke in contest. That's why the Oibishter wrote in the Torah about all of the geulas, because the Oibishter was mishabed himself to bring the geula. If it would have been a generic shibud, then once God took us out of Mitzrayim or we freed us from another galus, then Hashem wanted for there to be a shibud. Anyways, now that we established that that dating is not essential, you can have a post-dated, not a predated. You can never have a predated because here again, when you predate a document, what happens when there's a loan? It creates a shibud on the nechasim. If it's predated, it's not emes. In other words, if I borrowed money from you today, yesterday I sold my house to someone else, that person who bought a house that was not meshubed. So a predating document is not valid. But a post-dated document is valid. All it does is it diminishes the koyach of the malva to collect. But that's a big cloud. That generally we are very lenient when it comes to dinner de mamayna. But why? Not essentially. Because the Chachamim understood that the more stringent we become, the harder it will be for people to borrow money, and it's advantageous for borrowers for them to be able to get money quickly. Good. Too quickly is not good. They have a banking crisis, but they should be able to get money quick. Today's final chapter, Perek Shmoina Asa. Now we're learning about the shibud, more about the din of shibud, as we just mentioned, of the nechasim, of the loiva, to the debts that they have. Perek Shmoina Asa has 10 halachas, beginning with halacha aleph. Hamavas Chaveri B'Stam. What a stam means, he did not write, as we'll see soon, that I'm being meshabed and apoite heikoi, that this is meshubed to the loan. They didn't write that. Because if I stam borrow money, I should know that everything that I own, you know what everything means, Yakir? Everything. Very simple. And lefikach k'shiyavei ligbois teveya es balchoivay tchila. And if he finds nechasim, what nechasim? Any nechasim. Ben metaltalin, ben karkois, goiva, mehem, beretzoim haloiva. Beretzoim haloiva means don't go to Beis Din. Try without a Beis Din. And the loiva, if he's a God-fearing person, he'll consent because that's the rule. If I borrow money and it's documented, I should know everything. Unless I said what I want to be linked, which we'll learn in a moment. If I don't do that, everything. So he'll be masking. Now, if the imloy nasalei aloiva medatoi, then you can take it out of the Beis Din. Okay. Now, by the way, we're going to learn. We're almost there. Perek Chav Beis is a gavaldic.
Shares the same value, right?
What was that?
On the same value of the loan.
Let's say, Yakir, you loaned me $1,000, and I have 10 articles. Each one is worth 100. You collect all 10. Yeah, you cannot collect more. But the point is that the loiva should understand that unless the loiva during the loan specified what should be meshubed, by default, if it says shtar, bei metaltalin, ben kar, everything that I own is meshubed for that amount of money. Now, what happens if hispik loy kol animsek keneged shtar chayva? You go to the loiva. The loiva doesn't own enough stuff. Geld hat nicht. Nechasim he doesn't have anymore. Now you go further. So first you go to the metaltal. If he doesn't have enough metaltal, you collect from the land that the loiva owned when he borrowed the money. When I say owned, I mean taka past tense. Or they were given away. That land is never fully the purchaser's, because you don't get rid of the shibud just because you bought it. And now you know the meaning of the words toidef. In English, toidef means to expropriate. That's the meaning of toidef. When you're collecting it already from a third party, why do you have? Who gave you the right to collect it from the third party? Because since it was a documented loan that is lien to everything, now kayula chatchila collected from the lekuches? Absolutely not. You, the lender, you, the malva, have to collect it from the loiva. If he doesn't have cash, that's the seder, collected from his metaltal. If he doesn't have metaltal and collected from his karka, that's called b'nei choyden, that belongs still to the loiva. But if he doesn't have that, then you go to the lekuches and you do an act of toider. Toider, expropriate.
Wow, this is a huge halacha.
Every chapter today, I think it's Gavaldik. Huh? Wait, we'll get to that in a moment. Very good. It has to be that you owned it, like we just mentioned at the end of the previous chapter, why the Rambam only spoke about a post-dated document. You can never make a predated document because because of this. It's very important. Let's say today I borrowed from you $1 million. Today I own a house that's worth $1 million. Tomorrow, before the dome was debt, before collection, I managed to buy another $1 million home. Even though I still owe you the money, that home is not meshuba to the debt. You have to chap that.
Prior.
The property that I owned when the document was written becomes meshuba, even though I still owe you the money. And I bought another property, unless you write otherwise. Now you'll understand the nusach and the ksuba. Unless you do otherwise, if I don't own it when I was mekabel the shibud, it's not going to become a shibud. That's a big halach. But that can be circumvented. Who would want to circumvent it? Obviously, the lender, the malva. And by the way, and you make a kinyan, then and only then will be toiraf oison.
But this was stamp. Why doesn't everything apply automatically? It was a stamp debt, meaning anything should apply before and after the
not it's okay, man. Before for sure, never. Before meaning if I owned the house yesterday and I sold it yesterday, not shy, but I owned it. It's when I owned while I took the loan. Okay. Afterwards, very good. Okay. Now hold on. Then he asked the question, what about metaltal? Let's go to halacha base. Ein kol advarim amurim ela b'karka. Avol ha-metaltalin ein aleim achrayis. If you remember, minatoida b'chlal. Forget about this. So minatoida shibud only goes to karkois, not a metaltalin. We learned that above minatoida. What did the Chachamim say then in the Goinim? We mentioned the Goinim said I think it was after the Chasimas HaTalmud, and I explained because people didn't have own real estate that it should also go to the metaltalin, but only to the metaltalin that belongs to the borrower. Afilu metaltalin shoyle be'eshalava and shemacharan l'shatoi. If he made a sale, temporary sale, ein balchoif toiref oisam. Ein balchoif toiref. You know what ein balchoif toiref oisam means? Again, you can collect it from a metaltalin. We're saying that. If it was sold to someone else, you can no longer sell it. If you want to even circumvent that, the lender is telling the borrower, I want, for me, not only to have the rights to everything you own now, I want to have the rights to all of the karka that you're going to buy later. I want to be able to be goiva from a taltalin, even if you'll sell it. I want to be able to do that. So if he's makna at that time, the metaltal agav karka, now he's not being makna yet, he's not giving it to the lender. he's being makna to the lender the rights to collect from this metaltalin. Now, even if he sold those metaltalin, if there's nothing else to collect from, he can collect from that. And I want you to know that and I did it shaloi basmachta v'shaloi ketaf say hashtaris. A toifus of hashtar, I think it's called a boilerplate. Certain documents, all documents, they have a standard text. Even to open up your checkbook, there's the standard text. If such a thing cannot be part of the standard text, it has to be written purposefully for this loan. So you're writing, this is not stam, it was there. No, we came to the understanding, I'm giving the koyach to the malva to be goiva even from the lakuchais of the metaltalin because there was a king in Agav Karka. Even more. Now we're going more. Not the metaltalin that he owned now, Danny. He's writing everything that I'll own later. Now, how's that? I don't even own it yet. But the hametaltalin that I'll buy in the future, then because of the rules, so this is very, very yesodistic. It's by default, every loan, halacha gimel will change. If you don't write what is meshubet, everything. What is everything? Metaltalin and karkois. Now, the metaltalin, just to make it clear, it's midarabanan. So what? The nafkamina will be is that if you go to collect, and at the time of the collection, the borrower doesn't have anything, the shibud that gives you the koyach to be toiref by default goes to karka. There is a way, number one, to make that the metaltalin that the borrower owns when he borrows the money should be meshubet l'cha agav karka, and then he can even write in the document future both for karka and even for metaltalin. If they wrote that in the document, that everything that I'll get later will be meshubet. Some of this we have in the ksuba, not all of it. By the ksuba we speak about lakuchais, but when you're writing the ksuba that everything that I own and everything that I will own should be meshubet for the ksuba. Now you understand why you have to write that clause in. Because if a man would not write that clause in the ksuba, then she would only have a lien on whatever he owned, the yeshiva bacher, which is nothing, minus zero, when he got married. And then they even write, Vafilu meglima al kasvoy.
I thought the whole reason it doesn't extend to metaltalin is that there's no coil from metaltalin. So if I have an item, my hat, and I sell it to you, so when you buy that hat, you don't think like, oh, there might be a creditor that could come and hop this hat from me.
That, very good. When you make a loan,
whereas by karkois, we know that there's a coil. You know,
how? What? No, Danny, you're not thinking.
Filed with the
coil is from what? From the loan. The coil is about the loan.
Yeah.
So a loan that was made in the document, and the malva, the borrower, was mishabed everything that he owns metaltalin, and even the futures, that will also have a coil. Everyone will know, don't buy from Chaim. Because Chaim, who owes $1 million to someone else, was mishabed his own futures to that. No, the coil is from the loan, not from that item. The coil is on the person. This guy owes money. Don't buy things from people that owe money because everything they own is meshubed. How do you know they own money? Because it was a documented loan. So if this guy was meshabed his futures, that will be part of the coil. Some people don't buy from. Some people I don't know about the dinim of coil. Some people, they're such crooked people. You always chayish, whatever they own is not even theirs. Father, I don't want to buy. I don't know what's his, what's not his. It's all gegambit. You don't buy from some people. If a guy is filled with debt, don't buy from them. That's the word. Don't buy from people that owe a lot of money. Generally, metaltalin is nothing to be nervous about, but sometimes the guy can put his future metaltalin on the line as well. Weiter. Now, Atkan, all of this is based on the premise, Hamalvas Chaver Stam. We explained at the beginning of Havalacha Aleph. Stam means that no one, the loiva and the malva, never spoke about the shibud. It goes on everything. But what happens, also, sodeyu apoitike. The word apoitike, whether it's Greek, is a composite of poi to heikoi. Here, from poi, you're going to stand. Lebal chayvai, oil ishu b'ksuvasam. And what does an apoitike means? It has to be written very clear. Mikan tigbu. From here, you're going to collect. That's not strong enough. Mekan tigbu doesn't exclude something else. Mekan tigbu means l'chatchila you're going to come to this. So what happens? Let's say he specified a field, and what happens? Just ushatafa no. Shatafa means that when there were certain types of floods that completely ruined that field, the field got ruined. Just writing Mikan Tigbu is not enough for you to lose the shibud from everything else. Not only can you be goiva when it's mitachas yad the borrower, even if you sold it to lakuchis, you can expropriate it from the purchasers. But now the real apoitika, that's called an apoitika. Only from this, then ain't a goiva mishana chasim. Another thing, that's what, just to touch what the word achrayis means. Achrayis doesn't mean that I won't have to pay you back the money. If they wrote in the document, I'm borrowing money, I'm at chayv and achrayis. What that means in by us is that the belongings that the loiva owns, if it was sold to someone else, the malva can never expropriate. That's all achrayis. It's a big thing. So then we say, that's what the agreement was. And called to okay, halacha da. Now, so they are poitik or to a woman in her ksuba, and this guy sold it. So we want to know whether the sale is a sale. The answer is yeah. Why would you think it's not a sale? Since they can only collect from this, do we say it already belongs to the Baal Chayv? No. Don't forget, the loiva can pay cash. The loiva can pay money. All it means is that if he won't have how to pay, then the Baal Chayv, when he comes to collect, he'll take it away from the loikeya. But it doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to sell it right now. It doesn't take away his right to sell it, even if it's an apoitika. The Rambam didn't write it in the beginning of the Perek, because if all of my nechasim are meshubed, every item is less meshubed. Even by an apoitika, even by the apoitika shelo yelo purayin elam isu, he can sell it. Nervous then, uchshiyavi bal chayv ligbois, im lo yimtzu nechasim neichayim taka yitravois. Amed varam amurim, that he's able to sell it, and apoitika b'shem achara l'shah, he sells something for a limited amount of time. We call that a lease. Aval mocharim emimkar oilam, amazing ena mocharim. Whenever you have an apoitika, you do lose rights to make a definitive sale.
Finally.
Okay, I don't know loans today that's have an apoitika. I mean, in the standard documents that we are familiar with, there's never an apoitika. You're broadening it, saying even from my metaltalin, even from what I'm going to buy in the future. Halacha. Also, after apoitika macharai. So then the din is. Hadei bal chayv goyva mimenu mipnei sheyesh loy koil. In other words, Danny, the buyer should have done due diligence. That's what we're going back to what you're saying. Also, shoyde apoitika macharoi ein bal chayv goyva mimenu. We're not talking about, Danny, what we learned in the beginning of the chapter, that you were makna this agaf karka. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you were not makna anything. Let's go back. Normally, the shibud goes on the bnei chayre. Midorais on the karka. Midarabanan on metaltalin. Step number 2 is that since it goes midorais on the karka, if he sells the karka, you have the right to be toilet. Then we learned that if they specified a way that I'm being makna my metaltalin agaf karka for you to be goiva, then and only then can you be goiva from the metaltalin by someone else. Now we're learning about something else. That statement was not made over here in Allah. But I made my shoyr and apoitik. And I sold my shirt. So the din is, ein bal chayv goyvim imenu, p'cheisha metaltalin, mep'cheisha ein loy koil. You know what has a coil, Danny? That's going back to your question. If I made, during the document, I made all of my metaltalin, agaf karka, everyone is going to know about that. Don't buy anything from him. If I didn't make that type of kinyan, even though I made my shoyr into an apoitika, people might not know. And Eved, yeah, sure not. And if we say that the buyers didn't know, then it's not fair for them, and you cannot be going on. Halacha about Eved shasor rabbi apoitika, and afterwards he was meshachred him. even if it was the level of apoitika. Then is another din that if a person after making his eved a apoitika a lo you were magdish it. Hegdish is moitzim yad shibud. Now that's the meaning of the statement. So din is shachometz v'hashikrur v'hahegdish mafkiyam yad hashibud v'harei bal choiv choizer v'goiva choivoi min aloivem gewaldig v'koisev olav shtar b'choivoi v'toiv is manashtar. You know what happened over here? It's crazy. A guy made an eved his apoitika. He still has the right to be magdish it or meshachner it. Now what happens if he did it? What happens now? Let me tell you, the problem is that the mile of a documented loan is that it makes a shibud on the nechasim of the borrower. When he made an apoitika, he only allowed the shibud to go on this. Now he found a way to circumvent it. You have to make another document. There's only one downside. That when you make another document for the debt, first of all, it can be a milva al peh, but the guy wants it to be a milva b'shtar. You have to make another document. The date of the new document is today, not when the loan was given. Because that shibud became freed. If you want to make another shibud, like make it fair for the purchasers, you have to make another document. But the date of the document is when you wrote it later, not when the loan was given. That loan was only connected to the eved. Now, how can you even make a new document? There wasn't a new loan. Of course, you can make a new document because the fact that this guy was meshacher the eved or magdish the eved, he was goyim a loss to the other party. So that's as if he took money from him. He owes him from that. Now there's the issue. The issue is who's the Rabbi Sheni? The lender. The lender has the first document which says the eved is his apoitika. Even though the lender is getting now another document with another item or all of the items to be meshubed, in his mind, he's connected to that eved. So Beis Din is going to tell the loiva, make another document. The loiva says, I didn't borrow money today. They told him, you didn't borrow money today, but today, by you being meshacher the eved, today you ruined the malva's chance of getting his money back. You're ma'abed his mummy. 1 second. So there's two documents the Beis Din forces. Another loan document. There was no loan today, but today you are ma'abed the money of the lender. It's gavaldik. And then they tell the lender, you write a document freeing the eved. For you not to come later with your first document and to say that eved is yours.
But how come the borrower could be meshachar the eved without the consent of the lender, being that he's already
that's the rule. No, it's
the both owners.
It's slave, no.
Yeah, okay. In other words, he cannot sell it.
If they don't borrow, both.
He can't sell it. If he cannot sell it forever, that's the rule. That's the words. Hegdish, chametz, shichrun, and hegdish, mafki, and megesh.
Once you are free a slave, that slave is free.
Yeah, but you have to own it to free it. You own it enough to free it. You own it enough to be magdish to free it, and also if chametz became an apoitika, so there's a shiba to the chametz. It's a crazy thing. And that guy sold his chametz. No, let's say you loan me money. You loan me money. And I, the borrower, I said that my chametz is meshubed, only from this. You sold your chametz. That wasn't your chametz. You didn't collect. I didn't sell my chametz, but now this chametz has no value. So there's no more shibud on it because it's chametz of Pesach. That's the word. That chametz and shichrun and hegdish, they are mafkiah shibud. It's a chidush this. You're right. Like, how does it even happen? Like, how is it even mine? It should be yours. It's not. It's mine enough for me to ruin it for you. But since I ruined it for you, it's as if I borrowed money again from you. Okay. Halacha zayin. Amagdish lechasov. Ein bal chayv yochoy litrif in a hegdish. B'chala rule. Forget about apoitika. Even not apoitika. There's a big rule. This. You loan me money. I became the big tzedakah giver. I'll be not to pay you. I'm magdish my stuff. Don't think when we said that hegdish is moitzim midei shibud, it doesn't mean that you don't have a link to it. It only means that while it's belonging to the hegdish, you cannot collect from it. But you know what? If some genius is poided from hegdish, then you go and you take it from him. Shahegdish mafkiah shibud. but not poida permanently. Whoever is redeeming that land should know. You make sure hegdish that when you sell it, let's say I owe you $1 million. I own land that's worth $2 million, and I was magdish. That's my only land. While it's miyad hegdish, if I don't have the cash, you can't collect that land. But when the Beis Hamikdash sells it, know that that land is still meshubah to you, just not when it's miyad hegdish. So someone who's going to buy that land has to be told, hold on, when they're going to be paid it, you are going to be able to take from it $1 million. So they have to notify the buyer. The buyer has to know that some of its value is already leaned to someone else. Lefi that it's not like Hegdish was mafkia the shimud essentially. No. As we explained in Erechin. So therefore, just notify the buyer. No one is going to lose money over here. Beautiful. Now, we're speaking about a case where you have a balchoiv, you have a creditor. He went to the loiva ainly, not karka, not metaltalin. So as we began this chapter, if the loiva has nothing, if during the time of the loan, the loiva owned karka, so then the purchasers will have to give it up. That's the pshat. He's going to expropriate it from the lekuchais. Let me ask you a question. Do the lekuchais have to give up the land? Or can the lekuchais say, listen, I bought this land. I know that I should have done due diligence. You have the right to take the land. Don't take the land. How much was the document? The document, I'll give you the $1 million. At least let me stay with the land. He has that right. Im yesh mois la lekeach. The lekeach has the right to be misalik the balchayv. Obviously, the lekeach is going to go back to the borrower who was his seller. But he's going to go back regardless. If he took the land, he's going to go back to him. If he gave the money, he's going to go back. But he at least can keep the land. Now he's going to go back. The money to the meicher. However, if it was made into an apoitika, that's the big difference. And I think this even goes to the first apoitika of Allah Gibel. Even if he didn't say ein lecha paroin elamizu, if he just wrote over here mikan tigbu, mikan tigbu means you go to this land. It's more shayach to the lender, and the lekuchais cannot whiz away the lender with geld. Halacha 9. Reuven shoyin chayv l'shem mosayim, and v'hoyelo shtei sados. Reuven, right, the borrower had 2 fields. Umachar achas mem leLevi b'maneh. To the same Levi b'maneh. Uba Shimon v'tara for achas b'maneh. V'chaz a liter b'shniya b'maneh nishaloi. What did we learn, guys, in halacha ches? That the lekuchais, that the lekeach in Levi can buy him out. Listen to what Levi is saying. Levi brings him a sign. Now hold on, guys. He already took a field worth of money. That means how much debt is there still there? Only 100. Levi brings him 200, and he tells him like this: consider the field you already expropriated. That's payment for the tire, 200. If you'll consider that field 200, good. And if not, I'm giving you 200. So as we learned before, Hadinim Levi, Ratza Shimon v'Amad ba, Afa Pisha Kiblo b'Masayim, Ein Levi Chayzer to be Elamana Ech, and he cannot get the Masayim. Okay, 2 steps. Step number 1 is that even after the expropriation began, the current lekeach, who has the right to buy him out, can tell him later, consider that which you took already to be Mosayim.
But what was the value of the seller again?
So one more time. Each other was worth a money in the open market. The Levi, the current holder, he wants at least one of the fields. He wants it so badly that he's telling this guy, I had the right to pay you out. I didn't exercise it then. I want to exercise it now. He has to come with 200 money. The whole thing, you're only here because that guy owes you 200. I have the 200. Now listen.
I already took the field.
I know that. This current guy doesn't want to lose the other field. Doesn't want to lose his at all.
Yeah.
So, but he's not coming and saying, "Here's 100, and keep the field." He's saying, consider the one that you took already as 200, or here's 200 and leave.
And then what about that field?
So that no,
The field that he took already.
he's going to get back.
Uh-huh.
In other words, even though he began to collect, he even has that right. Now, let's say that guy says, I'm keeping that field as 200. How much money did Levi lose over here?
Man.
100.
That's it. And Levi cannot go and say, you owe me 200, because that guy agreed to keep that field. Bimosayim, doesn't matter. You only out of pocket 100. Levi has the right in the middle. The current owner, he didn't double pay. The guy agreed. The guy wanted, the other guy wanted that field so badly, he didn't want to be bought out with money. Correct. Yeah. He accepted it as double. Halacha, the final halacha is Meis Reuven. Guys, we're speaking about Reuven. Right? Reuven is chayiv to Shimon. Meis Reuven. V'niach soda achashav meyo. That's all he had. How much money did he owe Shimon, guys? 200. But he only left the field worth 100. Uba Shimon, and Shimon chapped it. Listen to this. But nasnaloi hayisayim meyo min hamataltlin sheni achavim. We learned, guys, the rule, right? That metaltlin is not meshuvah. So the Yisraelim went ahead. They wanted that field that their father left back. Nervous then. The Shimon, right, has it. So what are they doing? They're paying him the 100. How much money did he owe? No, he owed 200. So he can chop it back. Why do we view it that way? Because we say that the mayor that the Yorshim of Reuven gave, we interpret that to be the mitzvah, even though we learned they don't have a chayv, but it's a mitzvah on the Yisraelim to pay chayv avim. But the im amru loy elu hameya the may hasad shaton after, they make it clear that we're giving you this 100 to get back the field that you chap. Why is that? Because what did we learn? We learned that when the loan was given, only then does the shibut fall to the land. When Reuven was chayev to Shimon 200, Reuven only owned 100, so there was only a shibut for 100. If there's only a shibut for 100, Shimon cannot chap it twice. So if they don't specify that we're giving you the 100 to pay to buy back the land, then since Takehi owed 200, we are going to interpret that the 100 that they gave him was not to buy back land. He chopped the land. The 100 that they gave him was to pay the second 100 because there's a mitzvah to pay. But if they say no, we're buying back this land, the shibud doesn't go back on the land. That's not what we spoke. The shibud is chal once when the document was written. Now that would mean that he lost 100. And a chanami. There was only the borrower only left the land worth $100. Shkoyach.